Good afternoon. We will now call the Beaufort County Board of Education agenda setting meeting by the school board officers, or the executive committee, as we are also called, on January 11, 2021. The meeting is being conducted via Zoom video conferencing, and the meeting is also being live streamed by the county channel on their YouTube channel. So I was going to suggest to the other school board officers, and that is Mr. Mel Campbell and Mr. David Strivenger, that we just raise our hands on the video. That'll be a little easier than doing it via board docs. Are you either of you opposed to that?
Fine.
No. Okay. And Ms. Cartledge would like to say something. Her hand is up.
No, I just want to make sure y'all can hear me because we had a poor internet connection. Can y'all hear me okay?
Yes, we hear you fine.
Okay, thank you.
You're most welcome. So I would like to have a motion to approve the agenda without the meeting minutes of November 30 or January 4. I've reviewed those and they need some corrections, and I'm the only one of the three voting members that can vote on those. So if we could have a motion to approve the agenda minus the meeting minutes, which come back to the next agenda setting meeting. Mr. Mel Campbell.
Can I have a question before I
Sure.
make the motion?
Sure.
How will we approve those minutes?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, Mel. I was thinking that we have a quorum, which is the three of us. And so when we get to approving those at the next meeting, if you and David could abstain and I could vote to approve, and that would approve them, because an abstention is really like, neither yes or no. Sound reasonable?
Parliamentary procedure. If it's
okay. Yeah.
Okay. That being the case, I move that we approve the agenda as written, with the exception of item C and D, which is meeting minutes of November 30th, 2020, and meeting minutes of January 4th, 2021.
Do we have, okay, and David second. Any discussion?
Well, I think, I was at the January 4th meeting, so I could probably vote on that one, but
Yes, you could. That's a very good point, David.
I can't do 30th, but I could do the 4th.
Yep, perfect. All right, any further discussion about the approval of this agenda? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carries unanimously. We will now stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. The media has been properly notified. We will now set the agenda for the next business board meeting, which is Tuesday, January 19, 2021. And there's a draft agenda that was put in board docs. So we'll probably just follow along on that. And Robin's got that on our screen. So the first thing that needs to be discussed is the location. And I was going to suggest that the location be at the county council chambers, and Robin has already investigated it, and yes, that's possible. The reason for doing it there is so that we could take our group picture. We don't currently have a group picture, and we normally take one at the county council chambers. And I just thought it would make it easier if we didn't have a separate time that we all had to report to the county council chambers. David or Mel, any thoughts on that?
The Robin vet the seating plan and all that?
The maximum,
possible?
the maximum seating is 24 in the audience. That does not include the board members. At the dais, they have plexiglass divided between each of the seats in the on the dais.
Okay, that's what I was concerned about.
The other part of the county chamber is the doors will be locked. So we have to have someone at the door to let people in and out. And we do have to take their temperature. Once we leave, we do have to spray it, I guess.
Sanitize.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not sure how we're going to get a group picture if we all have to be 6 feet apart. It's going to be a wide angle lens.
Or would you be willing to take a group picture with your mask on? Since that is what's going on now, and they kind of.
I would be, but I'm in a different category. So in the sense that I've already been vaccinated, but I mean, we don't have to do the group picture and therefore we don't have to do it there. I was just trying to, make things efficient. What do you guys think, Mel and David?
I could go for the mask picture, and then later on, maybe during the year, we unmask.
David?
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I like council chambers. I think it's a nice venue, but
yeah,
I
guess we can work out the picture thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So obviously, Robin, this has to be changed at the top.
Yeah.
It has the DESC on it. And then the notice that's in red has to be changed because, as you pointed out, the county council chambers is limited to 24, right? Guests, or is that what you'd say?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So you'll fix all that.
Robin, I'm sorry, Dr. Blas, this is Frank.
Hi, Frank.
And I can't find the hand on the phone here. So.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I'll call.
I apologize.
No problem.
But Robin, that 24, does that include senior staff or?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
That's everyone sitting in the audience.
Okay. So in other words, is it actually 24 spaces for public, or is it 17 spaces for public?
If we're eliminating senior staff, then the 17th and Molly and myself. So then it's
15.
Yes.
You like my math, Mr. Campbell?
You're right on target, man. You're right on target.
All right. And the same thing for the public, like we said before, is it will be on a first come, first served basis. And comments can also be, public comments can also be done virtually. Same as before.
You're actually at 14 because we'll have a sheriff deputy there.
Okay.
Okay.
If we overlap, where are we going to meet the second day?
We would have to be at the district office, I believe. Not unless you want me to ask for county council if we can come back, I can ask them.
Well, I was just noticing, we have that note there that we'll reconvene at 6 p.m. And if we're going to do it at district office, we'll have to say at the district office. That little red section there.
Do you want me to check and see if we can come back to county council for the second day?
I have no preference for the second day.
I don't either.
I was hoping that we didn't have one, but yes.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping.
But I will ask to see if we can come back the second day.
Okay.
Robin, I noticed on here also that it says in red the January 21st to reconvene. It would be January 20th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
20th.
Thank you for that typo. All right. Any further discussion about the intro part there? All right, there being no hands up, and Dr. R has already made his point. We'll go on to the call to order. So we have a limited executive session with the personnel ratification report and discussion of a property. So
Yeah.
30 seem reasonable, Dr. R?
I think so.
All right. You guys just raise your hand, Mel or
Okay.
David or
I
Earl,
will.
if you want to add something. And I will
Wendy?
call on you.
Yeah, I'll add the FYA for the real estate matter.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
All right, and then scroll up or down or whatever way you want to say.
So Board Recognition Month is where January is Board Recognition Month, but this also usually at the business meeting is where the board signs the pledge and that frame of what you pledged to do, blah, blah, blah.
What
So
the
like
state school board association sends us.
Yes.
Okay, so that would be.
So is
That'd
it
be-
fine to leave it there for you all to
Yeah.
do it there? Okay.
I don't think it. Yeah, that'd be fine. And then we have the December students of the month, which will have to be added.
Before we move on,
Yeah.
Kristen wanted to know if you all would like a virtual performance from the students. Currently, Coosaw or Hilton Head Middle can do virtual performance.
And do you know what kind of performance it would be?
I don't know that.
Probably musical.
Most likely, or singing.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Singing.
I mean, instruments or singing would
okay.
be their performance.
Can I,
Yes. Go ahead.
can I just follow up to get specifics around what that performance might entail? Just because, the virtual, I'm in favor anytime we can to highlight our students. It's just that I want to make sure that whatever it is they're going to do in the virtual format doesn't sort of violate any kind of COVID practice or protocol with kids singing or anything like that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Is this
So if you decide to do it, if we just have it as a placeholder, and then I would follow up and check on that.
David?
Thank you. Yeah, if we can do it, I think it would be good.
Yeah.
It's a small step toward normalcy.
Yeah.
So do you want to add that as a placeholder there, Robin?
Okay.
I don't know if you just. All right. Then we got the first public comments. Then the chairman's report, and as I've already sent out, I'll be announcing the committee assignments, or that's the plan. And put also the BJA's board representatives.
You want that separate from the committee assignments?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Now we have 3 sets of minutes, and I was going to suggest, with the other officers' agreement, let's try putting them under consent agenda to try to speed things along. In the past, that is in our policy, and in the past, we had board members who would want to remove them from the consent agenda prior to board approval, which can be done, but it was just creating more work in the sense that they would be put under the consent agenda, then they'd be moved to board business, and we kind of eliminated that step by just having them as a separate approval of minutes. What do you guys think, Mel or David?
My question would be, how would you legally correct or discuss items that may not be correct in the minutes from the consent agenda?
Good question. So you'd have to do it the way we are doing now, and that is submit, if you notice they need corrections or there's inaccuracy or whatever it may be, it's best if you can send those to Robin at least 24 hours before the meeting, and she does those corrections prior to the meeting.
Okay.
Yeah. David?
Yeah, I agree with putting them in consent. I think that's where they belong, and they can always be removed from consent.
Okay.
If you have changes that you notice at the last minute, you can always remove it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Dr. R?
And I think I would add too that so you have 3 specific items on there, right? And if you see an issue, Mr. Campbell, with item number 2, but not the others, you could just remove item number 2 and not the other 2.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I agree.
All right. So we'll move them to the consent agenda, and then we would just approve the consent agenda. So the 3 of them would be approved as a block, kind of. Yeah. All right. I'm still looking for hands up, and there being none, we'll go on to the committee reports. And so ACE would be, for this meeting, would be Earl, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Academic.
Earl, Tricia, and Rachel.
Yeah. And then, do you anticipate any motions coming out of ACE, Mr. Earl Campbell?
You're muted. Oh, there you go.
No, I don't see any motion coming out.
Okay. Then we got the academic committee with some ARs.
And they have a PE. I forgot to go back and look at, they had a recommended motion of a PE.
All right. So Wendy?
There are 4 administrative regulations.
Okay, AR's time 4.
And I'll be with Robin to coordinate that.
Yep. So another thing in our policy currently is that if the committee has unanimously approved a motion to bring forward to the board, that motion also be placed under consent agenda. Now, what's probably different about our committees currently, compared to perhaps when that policy was written, and the intent was that there was probably more often than not 5 members on each of the committees, whereas now there's, committees with 3 or 2 or 4. So that would be another thing we could do, would be move the motions for approval under consent agenda, however, that were unanimously brought forward. Also, Miss Helen McFadden, when she came and looked at our agendas, she said, that one of the issues that she saw was that, you don't want to be discussing the committee reports one place and voting, another place. It's just not, very efficient or effective. So perhaps for right now, we should just leave the committee reports as a group. Does that sound reasonable, Mel and David?
Yeah, it sounds like that's all you can do now.
Yeah.
As long as we're analyzing them one at a time and voting on certain items,
Okay. David?
Yeah, I agree. I'd be really hesitant to put them under consent.
Yeah, I concur with that.
Yeah.
Hence, they haven't been there.
particularly with the small number of members
Exactly.
in each committee, yeah.
Exactly. So we'll have we've got ad hoc Bluffton Growth Committee and then also the policy committee. All of those have met since our last business meeting. All right. Any further discussion about the committee reports?
No,
Nope. There being none, we'll move on to the superintendent's report. So, Dr. R.
Okay, so we have under student achievement, some map data presentation to share with the board. Under goal number 2, highly qualified teachers and administrators. This is more around a social emotional component called #YouMatter, which is one of the things that we were putting together on social emotional support for employees as well. And that's based on a teacher survey that we had that indicated a request just to have something like that available. And so we want to share a little bit about what that is. Then under fiscal responsibility, we have these 4 items, which is the monthly transparency report, the monthly 100K report, board monthly budget, and then an update on the TAN for the board. And then under other matters, I have the coronavirus update. And one of the things I will be able to do is to have the, most likely be able to have the infectious disease doctor from MUSC join us at that meeting.
So we should have her. It's a she, as I recall, her name.
Yes.
Would you like her name on the agenda?
I didn't put it on there because I want to confirm that
Yeah,
she'll be
okay.
available. So I don't want to mislead anybody on that. So.
All right. And we got requests from Tricia, and Kathy followed up with those today, agenda requests. And I just want to be sure we've covered all the ones that requested. And I think we have. Will we continue under the continuing resolution for the rest of the 2021 budget? Will there be any budget decisions for the board to consider for the rest of this year?
So we can address that either under the COVID update, because the reason we're in that is as a result of COVID, or
Right.
we can address it during the fiscal responsibility.
David?
I'd put it up under fiscal responsibility. I think that's where it belongs naturally.
Okay.
I was going to say this. I was going to say the same thing.
yeah, me too. And it
Good. So we're in agreement.
doesn't restrict it. Doesn't restrict it any at all.
Yeah.
Is that another heading under fiscal, or does that
Well,
fall on?
I would say it probably needs to be another heading
Another
because
bullet.
the others are kind of itemized there. So.
Yeah.
So what do we call it?
How about update on 2021 budget?
Yeah, that sounds good.
That's broad and it will cover.
Yeah.
What we can pretty much cover it. All right. So then also number 2 for Tricia was update on the tax revenue situation and conversations with the county regarding this, but you're going to have that.
10 update.
Because the TAN update, exactly.
Mhm.
Cover
That's right.
that, correct?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Then report on how students are receiving continuity in their education while quarantining or while their students are quarantined. And you covered that at your update on the 7th.
I did.
yeah.
Did. I know why she's asking that, and I'll be happy to review it again on under this COVID-19 update.
Perfect.
So.
All right. And then let's see. It's very strange how all of a sudden
Let's see.
my
Yeah.
what I'm looking at is super small.
The Next one is counseling service for teachers that were going to be offered. I think
Yeah.
He's covered that.
That's hashtag you matter.
last one is a report on technology upgrades for K2s.
Thank you, David.
Yeah. Could come under fiscal responsibility, I guess. It could come under fiscal responsibility. Would be another bullet.
Okay. And so that, and then Kathy responded to Trisha's request that she supported it and gave some other information. She would also like to know the number of teachers, particularly the face-to-face teachers in quarantine, and their ability to provide virtual instruction.
I think I can cover that under COVID-19.
Yes.
That,
Okay.
Yeah, that changes kind of on a,
Day-to-day.
yeah, as you imagine, some come in and some go out, you know, and I think the heart of the question is what's their ability. I think it goes back to the other question that Tricia asked, which is the quarantine and instructional continuity for kids. I think that's ultimately what she's trying to get at, but I will put it under COVID-19.
Okay.
Make sure that I cover it, but make sure I touch base to understand the spirit and the intent of the request.
Mm-hmm. So that was, those covered their questions and comments and emails today. All right, next would be board business action. And the one item I put here was, I think it might be better say motion to, and Wendy can work on the wording. We need to decide whether we're going to approve continuing, renew our engagement letter with them. We've already approved the contract and it has 2 one-year extensions on it. And we just need the whole board to vote continuing it or not. So I was thinking that honestly could maybe be a consent agenda item because it is a contract that the board previously approved. If there wants to be discussion about it, I guess we should have it under board business action. Any comments, Mel or David? David?
I would anticipate discussion.
Okay.
Even though John and Joanne are no longer with us, I can still anticipate discussion on this.
Okay. So then
How do you want it titled?
I don't know. I'm going to defer to Wendy because she's, you and I looked at the contract the other day, Robin, and Wendy has, and it's really on the renewal of the engagement terms or letter. It's the same terms.
It would be, we would be discussing an extension of the engagement letter for Burr Foreman to serve, to provide legislative monitoring services for a fixed fee of $41,000 and monthly payments of $3,416.67. So there is no increase in the fee in the terms of that. But the engagement letter says 2 one-year extensions. So the board needs to decide if they want to extend it through December 31 of 2021.
Okay. So I don't think you have to have all that listed under the
No,
board.
no. It's discussion. You're discussing the extension of performance legislative monitoring services. I mean,
Okay, perfect.
Right.
Yeah, that sounds
I just wanted Mr. Campbell and Mr. Stribinger, both Mr. Campbell's and Mr. Stribinger, to know what the terms were, because I looked at the engagement letter today, Dr. Watts.
Yeah, I'm sure most of the discussion probably going to be on elements other than the terms, more so than what we get for those terms again.
Yeah.
We could put
Robin
Oh.
to load the
Engagement.
current agreement in the board docs under that, because that's where all this is and what the amounts, what the extension is and how much it's going to cost. It's not going up.
But it also details all the services to be provided,
Right,
which would especially be helpful to all the new board members too.
Right.
Yes.
David? Oh,
I
sorry.
was just going to say, it would be very helpful for the new board members to
Yeah.
see all.
Exactly. All right. I don't think I can't think of other items for board business action unless one of the board members here can. Mr. Strivinger?
Thanks. We had an open items list, Rob, and you keep that? Do you keep that? If you do keep it, would you send it to me also?
I do keep it, and we don't have it. The only thing that we have open is a TIF. There is nothing left over.
Just the TIF?
The Port Royal TIF, to be exact.
Okay. Yeah, because I talked to Kathy and she had some loose items that she said.
What does she have?
She had like graduation ceremonies. Mr. Smith had brought that up and it's not on the list. Demographic study, which Mr. Smith, I believe, brought up, and I don't know what that means, but.
We asked about the demographics because that had been on the list several times, and he did not have anything for it or to say, so we removed it from the list.
Okay.
I didn't have graduation ceremony. I'm not sure.
You remember there was some.
Yes, now I do. He wanted about
Consistency.
Consistency.
From, one graduation site to another.
Yeah.
Right.
Basically who's in charge and what is the charge. That was the content.
Exactly. Yeah. What color are the shoes and
Right.
can you put stuff on mortarboard or not?
Doesn't that, David, seem like a good discussion? We're going to have that for a work session as opposed to a business meeting now, when we're really not certain where we're going to be with the coronavirus pandemic come May or June when the students graduate.
I agree. I'm just trying to make sure we have all the items on that list.
Okay.
What else do you have on your list?
This is let's see, start times, but that's a moot point because of the COVID. But we probably should have it on the list.
Well, start times was supposed to go back to operations because under operations, we did the whole survey that we never moved forward with. So that went back to the operations.
Right. But we probably should have it on the list that it went to operations.
On the big list? Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Because I'm thinking that big list, it might be good if we posted that big list.
Okay.
So that everybody knew that we didn't ignore anything. We got them all. This is where they are.
Okay.
We're keeping track of everything because it's great that you keep track of it.
Yeah.
And I think everybody should see that you're doing that. Because I think some folks had opined that we were ignoring things, and I don't think we are. So
we have graduation, Port Royal TIF, start times. Do you want me to put demographics back on the list? Because we had taken it off.
yeah, I would put it on there so we can say that it's
So
closed.
we can discuss it. Yeah. Discuss.
Yeah, so we can say it's closed out.
And you got more?
Other items that she gave me were impact fees, but
we had that already on the agenda, and that was what county council.
okay, so we can just put it on the list and say it's on the agenda.
Okay.
And she said education vouchers. I don't remember that one.
No, I've never heard that one.
Yeah, I don't remember that one. I know that was a Betsy DeVos thing, but I don't remember us talking about it. And the last one she had was broadband equity.
That seemed like has been addressed for
That's
sure.
been addressed a few times, but you keep it on there to say that it's been addressed.
I don't think it needs to be, and I'll tell you why, for a couple reasons. One, that was one of our legislative proposals to the State School Board Association for this legislative session, i.e. starting January 2021. And that was approved actually unanimously at the delegate assembly in December. So that is going to go before the legislators, and it's just to improve it statewide. So I really think we've covered that, and also locally, we have the hotspots available to the students in need that do not have adequate internet access. So Dr. R, I think in my mind we've covered it. Is there anything we're missing?
No, and we've talked about the local providers submitting for grants from the state legislature that they had in place, and I think there's 4 of them that were actually submitted by Hargray and I forget which other group, but in total there were about 4 that were submitted that covered the Fusky, it covered Bluffton, not Bluffton. Yeah, I think it was a part of Bluffton, Hilton Head, right in that area there. And then St. Helena, and I'm not sure where the 4th one was, but there were about 4.
It might have been Earl's territory.
No, it wasn't out there.
No.
It needs to be out there,
Yeah,
but it wasn't one that was part of it.
Yeah.
All right,
That's still an open item then.
Yeah, it is.
Kathy, I look at that as open.
Okay.
From our internal standpoint, that I think when you say inequity, when she says inequities, I think she means do we have the numbers and the stats to justify the conversation about inequities, and then that way we can have something that's applicable to the providers in terms of the need, and I think that's where our trust. I think that's what her intent is. What do we know about the inequities?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Good points, both of you. I could actually, with David, you saying your list, I can think of another one, and that was Mr. Smith has insisted on multiple occasions that there were board members that wanted to revise another time Robin Cushingberry's evaluation instrument. I don't know of any I have no personal knowledge. Nobody's reached out to me for that to revise it. We've already revised it. Any comments regarding that?
Yep, that was the last item on the list, and
there you go.
I agree with you that I don't remember. I don't remember what the point was. So we can put it on there and say it's closed. And that's basically the underlying thing is I think we really should keep everything we've closed in the list and everything that's open in a list so that we don't lose anything.
Yes.
So on the topics, just keep a long running tab. So as we close it out, leave it on there, but just show that it was closed and dealt with on whichever date that we dealt with it.
I think that would be good.
Okay.
That's just my opinion.
Yeah, the other way to do it would be have an open list and then have your closed list separated. So I don't know if that would be easier to review. I don't think it really matters. You got the idea. Yeah. How about Mel? Any comments on this?
No, too short. This is too short. This is as efficient as one long list.
Yeah. I was just thinking that way, you know what, okay, these are the open items still, as opposed
Yeah,
to the
yeah.
long list. Okay, which is open, which is closed. Yeah.
Yeah, if
Yeah.
you look at, and David suggests the long list with, oh, Robin closed on it.
Yeah.
It doesn't, I don't think.
So you don't think it matters either?
No, if I had to do it, I would choose one and go with it.
Yeah, okay. All right. So then, let's see. We already did consent agenda with the meeting minutes, and then we've got the future agenda topics, announcements, second public comments and adjournment. And then Robin's going to determine whether we can have day 2, if we go to a day 2, where that would be located, and have it on the appropriately notified on the agenda for the meeting. Do we have any, I think that seems to wrap up the meeting coming up next week. Do we have any discussion regarding any future agendas?
At some point, I'd like to ask for a special meeting, special session, so we can discuss our self-evaluation tool and what the outcome of is that. I don't know what the appropriate direction for that, but right now we haven't pinpointed a time, but I'd say sometime at the end of January or early February, we want to look at that tool and look at what the results were and how we can improve it.
Right. So I saw your hand up, Robin. Were you? No. So do you want to pick a date or whatever and query board members? To me, that sounds very reasonable. I think it would be best as a special separate meeting. David, are you in agreement with that?
I think we need to have a focused meeting.
Yeah, exactly.
I do have a question then.
Yeah.
So, and this is more for David, then are we going to also have a special meeting for the second read for policy? Are we going to have a special meeting for that as well?
That's my thinking, because again, I think it needs focus.
Yeah.
So do you want me to query 2 dates for board members so that we can?
I think that sounds good. Can you remind me, Robin, what's the date? Oh, I can look here, never mind. The date of our work session. Let's see,
The work session is January 20, it's a Friday, the 29th.
Oh, I don't see that on this.
Wait a minute.
Meeting.
It's on a Friday. Let me get the wrong.
29th is a Friday.
January 22nd.
Well, that's not very far away.
Nope.
So we're going to have to. Where did I don't see that posted anywhere.
No, I thought that was actually, I don't know.
It's a budget workshop for Friday the 22nd, and that is on our list.
Yeah, I saw it exactly as I saw it as a budget workshop.
It's a work session, but it's a budget workshop.
Because we also have in March that we have a work session.
Correct.
So I guess the question is,
Sure.
Is there enough? Is there going to be enough teeth to the budget work session that we have the meeting? Frank, I guess that's for you.
So what I'm hearing is that we wouldn't really have enough teeth for it until later in February, because the legislature won't do its thing until sometime in February.
And you are going to do some kind of report on the 19th. I think we did put something in the agenda relative to that, right?
Yes.
And that was one of Tricia's requests.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so.
So can we use then that date for the one or both items?
I personally would.
Go ahead.
Would relay it to David. I'll relay it to David's policy committee reading if we're ready for that second reading.
And that date would be fine for a second reading. You know, I'd really like to get through these readings because policies are 5 years old, and even if the new one's not perfect, it's better than what we got.
Right, we'll have something.
Yeah, we'll be ready. We just have to polish it up.
Okay.
So then I would query the board for another date then for the self-evaluation.
Yes.
And use the January 22nd for policy.
Right.
That sounds good to me.
And how much time do you think we can start it, like at 5 or 6 for the special called?
Yeah, because I know we have a few board members that with employment obligations, that would not be able to do it, I don't think, in the morning, early afternoon.
Okay. It's fine with me.
Yeah.
Does anyone have any particular dates that I should query, or should I do it after the 22nd or before the 22nd?
You talking to me about self-evaluation?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'd go after the 22nd. I'd be looking at the next week.
Okay.
Yeah. Which, sometime the latter part of that next week will be fine.
Okay.
That sounds good. David, any comments?
That sounds good to me.
Okay. So now we need to set when the next agenda setting meeting is going to be.
One should be Monday, the 25th. It's a week out before the February 2nd meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, and okay.
Okay.
So right now it looks like on the Board of Education, the 2021 schedule of meetings that were approved, January 22nd is no longer a budget workshop, but is going to be our second reading of policy. And I think the board needs to be notified because we're switching that because as Dr. Rodriguez just said, they don't really have we won't have the information we would need. It won't be available yet for the budget workshop.
And we also need to establish a time. We just said all day. So is that an all day meeting, a half a day meeting? We started at 9. What would you all like?
Not going to be an all day meeting, I hope. I wouldn't be able to do that a whole day. Again. In fact, I'm kind of hoping we can not go through it page by page this time.
Should take less time this time. I mean,
so I'm thinking 2 or 3 hours should be more than enough.
Okay, but I don't know if you guys, my vote would be to have it start in the afternoon, like 1 o'clock or 2 or.
it's fine with me.
Yeah, it's fine.
Last time it was fine.
Is that good, David?
That's good. That's good with me.
Okay.
So we could say started at 2 o'clock and say from 2 to 5.
Yep.
Yeah, sounds good.
Lunch, that way we can have lunch and dinner.
But neither.
On our own.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
An agenda topic, and I'm not sure. So, never mind. I'll just leave it. Never mind.
Okay.
January 22nd. We said from 2 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And it's going to be a policy reading, second reading.
Right. And when you send the or query members, please tell them why we're doing away with the budget workshop.
Yes, I will do that.
Okay. Are there, and then, so the 25th, you just mentioned, for the, which will be setting the agenda for the February 2nd meeting.
Yeah.
We have been doing it typically at 4 o'clock. That works well for me. I just want to be sure that works well for you, Mel, and you, David. And I'm happy to go in person again.
It's fine with me.
So at the district office, 4 o'clock on the 25th of January, but we'll still continuing to allow or conducting it hybrid so that if somebody wants to join remotely, they can.
Okay.
Sound good?
Sounds good. If we're going to be prepared to go live,
right,
I'm ready.
Okay, me too. All right.
So the agenda for the 22nd is just going to be the second reading for the policy.
Yes.
So we don't have to schedule an agenda for that meeting. That is the agenda, correct?
Correct. And you're going to query them. Well, I guess for that one, you're not going to query the members because it was already on the schedule.
Correct. We're just changing it from what it was. And then I will query the meeting, the members for after the 22nd for a special call meeting to go over the self-evaluation results.
Right.
And that will be the only topic there too. So I don't think we really have to have an agenda setting for that. And I guess we could discuss it if we needed to at the meeting on the 25th, Mel.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. That, I think it's one topic.
That's it.
Let's find a date. Yeah.
So is there any other business regarding agenda setting anybody would like to bring up? All right. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I move we adjourn for
Okay. All in favor?
today.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Thank you to everybody that's in attendance and have a nice evening. We're adjourned.